What skills will become exponentially more important as AI becomes exponentially more powerful?
So first, I think people should stop talking about technical versus soft skills. So the leaders who thrive will combine both. And any professional, actually, it's not just in IT, but any professional who combines both, right? Future ready leaders stop asking what can AI do instead of me and start asking how can AI help me make better decisions, develop my people faster, create greater value.
What mindset shift separates future leaders from those who may struggle over the next decade?
I would say stop asking how do I stay valuable. Start thinking how do I continue creating value.
Who is more vulnerable today? Like the average software engineer or the IT leader who refuses to evolve, and why?
I actually don't think vulnerability is defined by the job title. It's defined by mindset. So, a software engineer who keeps learning, embraces AI, develops business understanding, and expands their capabilities is in a much stronger position than an IT leader who believes yesterday's success guarantees tomorrow's success.
If you are coaching a high performing technology manager today, and what three capabilities would you ask them to develop immediately?
Oh, that's actually a conversation I've had quite often with people I coach, right? First is strategic thinking, right? Instead of asking, how do I solve this? What business problems are we solving? What outcomes are we looking for? Second, influence. As leaders progress, success becomes less about the work they personally deliver and more about the outcomes they enable. And I think that AI is changing the nature of leadership far more than it's replacing leadership. So, as AI becomes better at generating information, analyzing data, accelerating execution, the leader's role shifts from being the person with all the answers to being the person who asks the right questions.
So, folks, welcome back to yet another episode on the Guiding Voice podcast series. And my question today is, what if the biggest threat to your career is not artificial intelligence, but the belief that your current expertise is not enough? For decades, IT leaders have built careers by becoming the smartest technical experts in the room. Today, AI can generate code, automate analysis, write documentation, and accelerate execution in ways we have never seen before. And the question is no longer how good are you at technology, but the question is can you create business value, influence decisions, and lead transformation? So, we are pleased to kick off a special series with Cheryl Patel, and the series name is Leading in the AI Economy. So, in this inaugural episode of this series, we are going to explore one of the most critical leadership shifts of our generation. So, joining us is Cheryl Patel. So, Cheryl and I are very good friends, and she's a leadership strategist and talent transformation expert who has spent more than 2 decades helping global organizations develop leaders, build future ready capabilities, and most importantly, navigate large scale change. And today, she focuses on helping experienced technology leaders evolve from technical authority to AI leveraged strategic leadership in a rapidly changing world. And if you are an IT manager or architect or director, CTO or aspiring technology leader, or someone who is wondering how AI will reshape careers, this conversation is for you. And Cheryl, hearty welcome to TGV. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Naveen, and I'm doing very well. It's a lovely day, and I'm glad I'm starting it with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. So finally, you are on TGV, and I'm glad that we are doing this particular series. And folks, before we dive into our conversation on the topic at hand, I want to leave you with one thought. AI won't replace IT leaders, but it will replace the ones who don't evolve. I know that's a bold statement. However, we are going to unpack exactly what it means throughout today's conversation. But before we get into our conversation, here is an exciting twist as always. Let us tickle our guest brain first. So, Cheryl, the format is first there is a rapid fire round followed by mainstream questions, and again we'll conclude with another rapid fire. Okay. So, this rapid fire round is set just to know the other side, okay, the personal side of Cheryl and especially your thought process. I'm going to throw a few random words and also kind of choice questions. And if you're ready, let's get started. I want you to answer briefly without thinking much. All right?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Superb. So my first word is curiosity,
Lifelong superpower.
invention,
Possibility.
future.
Bring it on.
Awesome. Universe,
Wow.
leadership,
Legacy.
success.
Whatever one desires.
Amazing. All right. So leadership or expertise,
Expertise earns respect. Leadership multiplies it.
influence or authority,
Influence every time for me.
adaptability or intelligence,
Adaptability for sure for me. Yes.
tech skills or business acumen.
Why choose? But if I had two, business acumen.
All right. Here comes the last one. Specialist or generalist.
Neither. I would say integrator.
Wow. Amazing. Mind blowing responses. I loved your responses. And thank you so much for participating in rapid fire round number one. And let's cruise into the mainstream conversation. So, here you can answer to my questions in about 1 to 1.5 minutes each. All
Okay.
right. So,
Okay.
we'll start with the platform standard question. So, Cheryl, talk to us about who is your guiding voice.
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, if you'd asked me this question about 20 years ago, I would have said mentors and leaders. Today, I'd say it's a combination for me of people, values, and experience. Yeah. My parents gave me the foundation of education, integrity, as well as consistency, more of resilience. And throughout my career, I've learned from inspiring leaders and equally from those who've showed me what not to do. And I always like to, in when I work with people or I talk to people, I always say strategy is very simple. It's what you should do as well as what you should not do from a definition perspective, right? So I've learned all of that from them. My faith keeps me grounded. Um, while my curiosity keeps me learning, I actively seek different perspectives because I feel nobody has all the answers, especially
Yeah.
in a world today which is being reshaped by AI, right? So, so today, my guiding voice is a blend of my values, my experiences, faith, curiosity, and the people who've influenced me along the way. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned, to stay grounded in your principles but never stop learning. So,
Got it. Got it. Now talk to us about your success mantra, as in top three things that have contributed to your success so far. This is mainly from the trades perspective. Okay.
right. Um, if I had to really narrow it to three things, I would say I've never stopped learning. That was the first thing you said, curiosity, right? So for me, that's
Yeah.
my superpower, right? So whether it's been, you know, psychology, business, leadership, human behavior, technology, I've always believed that curiosity is the best investment that I've made in myself, right? And I believe the world changes too quickly for any of us to rely on what we already know earlier. That's always the foundation. Second, I've focused on creating impact rather than simply completing tasks in whatever I've had to do. So I would say that has contributed to my success. And one of the patterns, in fact, I noticed while coaching is that people who progress fastest aren't the smartest technical experts. Yeah, they are the ones who consistently ask, how can I create more value? So that has always been my belief. And third, that I'm willing to evolve. I've reinvented myself multiple times, in my in my career, because every new challenge demanded a different version of me. And I don't think that success comes from protecting what, I've already achieved. It comes from constantly asking yourself, what do I need to become next? So curiosity, contribution, and continuous reinvention. Three things.
Amazing, amazing. And I love the way you have put it. And I think all the three are essential ingredients in case if you want to have a long term career and most importantly, if you want to stay relevant. That's awesome. And Cheryl, before we dive into the leadership in the AI era, right? So, what is the biggest misconception you think experienced IT leaders have about what's happening right now?
Uh, Very interesting question, very relevant to today. And I think the biggest misconception is this: if I keep improving my technical expertise, I'll continue to stay relevant, right? So, technical expertise is essentially It is essential. It's not, it's the foundation, right? But it's no longer sufficient. That's the thing that people need to start realizing if they've not already. So, for many years, technology professionals built successful careers by becoming the person with the deepest technical expertise. That made perfect sense because expertise was relatively scarce and difficult to scale earlier, right? Today, AI is 100% changing all of that. So, scaling any expertise is not a challenge anymore. So, technical capability, hence, is becoming more accessible. And while many say routine tasks are being taken by AI, I feel a lot of complex tasks are being managed by AI. So that doesn't make expertise less important, but it does change what organizations value most from their leaders. So, in fact, Microsoft's recent Work Trend Index points to a growing expectation that leaders use AI to increase productivity while spending more time on judgment, decision making, innovation, and leading people. That's exactly where the shift has started to happen. So your technical expertise is not sufficient, is the misconception, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the question to ask is how do I become a not how do I become a better expert? It's how do I become more strategically valuable? Because technical credibility gets you into the room. Strategic leadership determines whether you're invited back. And I think that's the leadership shift many people are just going to have to recognize.
Yeah. On similar lines, I've written a quote: title will invite you or open the door. However, your actual leadership, right, will make you stay in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right. So let's move forward. 20 years ago, like technical expertise was enough to build to build a successful IT career. What has fundamentally changed, and why do you think that model is breaking down now?
So like I said, I don't actually think that technical expertise has become less important. It's just not sufficient anymore. It's just less sufficient, right? 20 years ago, organizations created value largely through technical execution. If you were the person who could solve the hardest technical problems, you naturally became indispensable, right? You were paid the most, you had the most success, all of that, right? Expertise was scarce, and that scarcity created career advantage. Simple demand and supply equation, economics at play, right? Today, the environment is fundamentally different. AI is accelerating technical work, technology is evolving faster than ever, and businesses are navigating unprecedented complexity and uncertainty. The challenge today is no longer just building a technology, right? It's deciding what to build, why it matters, how it creates business value, not just now, 5 years, 10 years ahead of time from now, right? And how to lead people through constant change. I remember working with with a leadership team where the most respected architect was not promoted because of better skills, better technical skills. She was promoted because she could translate technology, the expertise, into business decisions that executives understood and trusted. That was the real differentiator. That's why I believe technical credibility gets you into the room. Strategic leadership determines whether you're invited back, whether you stay in that room, like you said, Naveen.
Got it.
And technical expertise is now the entry ticket, it is not the destination. That's what we need to keep in mind. So, what are
Yeah.
we building and how do we keep building? That's the thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, Cheryl, when this AI can perform many technical tasks faster than humans, so where does this human leadership become more valuable?
So I like that question, more valuable, because human leadership has always been important and valuable, right? And now when you're competing with technology in whatever way, it definitely needs to be more valuable. And I think that AI is changing the nature of leadership far more than it's replacing leadership. So, as AI becomes better at generating information, analyzing data, accelerating execution, the leader's role shifts from being the person with all the answers to being the person who asks the right questions, exercises sound judgment, and helps people navigate uncertainty. That's where human leadership becomes even more valuable. Like organizations we've seen don't succeed because they have more information. They succeed because leaders have always made better decisions, align people around a common purpose, build trust, influence stakeholders, and lead change. Those things, Naveen, have never changed. They have foundationally always been there. We now AI is pushing us to, you know, get faster, get moving, and understand the importance of all of this. In fact, a very interesting thing that I read the other day, Harvard Business Review, yes, it was Harvard Business Review, has written extensively about judgment being a defining leadership capability in an increasingly AI enabled world. And I completely agree. AI can generate options for you and me, right, Naveen? But leaders still provide context, priorities, ethics, accountability. So, one of the biggest shifts I see in moving from managing work to leading transformation, AI can help us work faster, but leaders need to influence us. How? By inspiring us, by inspiring confidence, by making difficult trade offs, by communicating a clear vision, and bringing people with them through change. So, I don't see the future as humans competing with AI. I see
Yeah.
leaders partnering with AI while strengthening the capabilities that even become more valuable. Strategic thinking, judgment, influence, adaptability, empathy, ethical decision making. That's where leadership creates its greatest value, according to me. It always has
Got
been
it.
this, actually. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And when it comes to technology leaders, I still see some of them are focused on becoming better experts. So why might that actually be the biggest career risk in the AI era?
Okay. So here I want to be very careful. I don't want to say, I'm not suggesting expertise
Hmm.
is not valuable. It
Hmm.
absolutely is. The
Hmm.
risk is believing that expertise alone will continue to differentiate you. That's
Right.
the risk, right? So, for many years, career progression was relatively straightforward. Become the best technical expert, solve increasingly complex problems, opportunities will naturally flow. Today, that equation has changed. And how? How has it changed so fast, right? As AI makes technical knowledge more accessible and it accelerates our routine and complex tasks, deep expertise becomes the baseline rather than the ceiling. It's no longer the differentiator between you and me. It's just the baseline. We are expected to be technically experts in what we do. Yeah. So if you're investing all your energy in becoming incrementally better at something,
Hmm.
AI increasingly supports. You may be strengthening yesterday's advantage instead of building tomorrow's. That's the
Yeah.
thing. So I often ask leaders, when I coach them, I ask them a very simple question. What are you becoming known for beyond your technical expertise? And that
Hmm.
conversation shifts. And how, Naveen? It's you, but you should. I mean, I've seen leaders actually go silent after the conversation, that question, right before, because suddenly it's not that it's not happening, but when realization hits, then you realize it's too close to home. And the leaders who stand out combine technical credibility with, again, strategic thinking, business acumen, communication, influence, and the ability to lead change, starting with themselves. So my advice isn't to stop becoming an expert. It's to build on your expertise. Think of technical capability as your foundation, not your ceiling. Because in the AI era, your value won't be defined by what you know, it'll increasingly be defined by the impact you create. Really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful. So let's talk about the warning signs that an IT leader is becoming professionally obsolete. And even if they are currently successful, like how can we recognize that pattern?
I don't think professional obsolescence happens overnight, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, I know that people are very worried when they keep seeing organizations laying off people in the hundreds, etc. And that's got to, how do you protect and work around that? Is because this is a knee jerk reaction, in my understanding, right? So, professional obsolescence happens gradually, and success can sometimes hide the early warning signs, right? So, and this is something that I know top of my mind. There are five signals because I've been working on this a lot. First is, and I would really encourage our technology leaders to reflect on this. First, you're known only for your technical expertise. People come to you for technical answers, but not for better decisions or strategic conversations. So, your first sign is, what are the questions people are asking from me? Second, your learning has slowed down. You're relying on what made you successful 5 years ago instead of building what will make you successful 5 years in the future. I'm not even talking 10 years, I'm just talking 5 years. Third, most of your conversations are about technology rather than customer, business outcome, or organizational priorities. Fourth, you're managing execution, but you're not at all shaping direction. You're delivering somebody else's strategy, or not even in the conversation to influence that strategy. Finally, you have become uncomfortable with change instead of curious about it. So, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella often talks about the importance of maintaining a learn it all rather than a know it all mindset. And I love that,
Yeah.
right? I think it's the most relevant today than ever. So, I'd encourage every listener to ask themselves one question. If AI made only 30% of my current role more efficient tomorrow, what would make me more valuable to my organization? So that's the way I would protect myself. So if that answer isn't immediately clear, don't panic is what I say. Don't ignore it either. Because relevance isn't something you achieve once, it's something you continuously earn. Yeah.
Also, if you look at historically, like IT leaders have earned influence through expertise, but in this AI economy, how will leaders earn influence differently?
Yeah, that can be because that's a very good question, and one really needs to think about it because influence is not just knowing everything, right? So influence historically came from being the person with the answers. If you were the technical expert who could solve the toughest problems, obviously people naturally looked at you for direction. That still matters. But today, influence is earned differently because leadership has become more interconnected, right? You're no longer leading only technology, you're influencing business strategy, or at least you're expected to. Customer outcomes, cross functional teams, and organizational change. Look at organizations now actually getting their people leaders to start owning culture, to start owning people development, to start owning other areas. And that's a sign that's coming through. So I think influence today comes from five things: strategic thinking, business acumen, communication, trust, and developing others. The unit of value is changing from execution to
Yeah.
judgment. So go back to that report that I cited with Harvard Business Review. Judgment is the new capability that leaders should focus on. And organizations increasingly value leaders who help people make better decisions, not simply deliver more work, right? So that's why influence is shifting from expertise alone to credibility. So technical expertise may earn you a seat at the table, Naveen, but influence is what gets you a voice in the decisions that shape the future. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. I'm sure, I think many of our audience can resonate with all the insights that you have been sharing so far.
Thank you.
And yeah, moving to the next one, like what is more vulnerable today? The average software engineer, or like who? Let me put it the other way. Who is more vulnerable today? Like the average software engineer or the IT leader who refuses to evolve, and why?
Okay. Um, I actually don't think vulnerability is defined by the job title. It's defined by mindset. So, a software engineer who keeps learning, embraces AI, develops business understanding, and expands their capabilities is in a much stronger position than an IT leader who believes yesterday's success guarantees tomorrow's success, right? Equally, an IT leader who continues to evolve, who understands, like we spoke about just now, business strategy, develops people, leverages AI effectively, leads transformation, will remain incredibly valuable. So, the real vulnerability is not the role, it is your mindset. One pattern I've consistently observed while coaching leaders is that experience only remains valuable when it's paired with curiosity. Experience gives you perspective, but curiosity keeps you relevant. That's why I encourage leaders to stop asking, will AI replace my role? And start asking, how do I become more valuable because AI exists? So I remember, and I'm quoting, I was attending a program, I was a participant, and I was talking about our inner beliefs, etc. And the gentleman said a very wonderful thing. He said, everybody is saying AI is happening to me, AI is happening to me. No, it's it. If you start seeing it as I'm letting AI do this to me, then I know that I have options. Then I know that this is my choice. So mindset is what either makes it or breaks it at any situation in life, right?
Right. So that's a good segue into my next question. Now that you mentioned about mindset, so what mindset shift separates future leaders from those who may struggle over the next decade?
So I would say stop asking, how do I stay valuable? Start thinking, how do I continue creating value?
Right.
So I recently facilitated a leadership team for an MNC that's into consulting, right?
Hmm.
And one of the things that surprisingly, in the sense I was glad in that kind of surprise that they wanted to develop these leaders as trusted advisors. And that's exactly what the focus of that entire program was. How am I seen as a trusted advisor? How am I seen to bring value? So I have to stop trying to just protect me and my kingdom, but thinking about how I can create value to ensure that that kingdom of mine exists and I don't lose it, right? So the first is about protecting what you already know. The second is about continually evolving to meet what the future needs. So, future ready leaders understand that learning is no longer a phase in your career, it's part of your leadership responsibility. They don't define themselves by their current expertise or job title. They define themselves by their ability to learn, to adapt, and help others navigate the change. So, if I had to quote, was it Ethan Mollick? I think, yes. One of the leading researchers on AI and work often reminds us that AI doesn't replace the need for human judgment, it increases the importance of using it well. Connected back to Harvard Business Review, it's all just connected that human judgment is so critical.
Yeah.
And I think that's
You are
exactly, yeah, where leadership is heading, right? Future ready leaders stop asking, what can AI do instead of me? And start asking, how can AI help me make better decisions, develop my people faster, create greater value? So ultimately, the leaders who thrive won't be those who resist change or simply react to it. In fact, they'll always be the ones who anticipate it, embrace it, and help shape it. And that's what being future ready really means. So, and it's always these capabilities have always been there, right? So it's just that now
yeah.
we really need to now take heed. Yeah.
Right. Right. Now let's double click on the value part. Many times people confuse activity with value, right? So how should leaders rethink the concept of value creation in an AI driven world?
This is one of the biggest leadership shifts we'll see over the next decade. Yeah. Maybe you can quote me, and if it goes down well, you can say Cheryl said it. Yes. But for a long time, many of us equated being busy with being valuable, right? And we've been guilty of that, at least in the start of our careers, right? And we've measured success by the number of meetings we attended, the hours we worked, or how much we delivered. But activity and value are not the same thing. And as AI automates more routine work, simply doing more becomes a weaker measure of contribution now. The unit of value is changing from execution to judgment. Leaders will increasingly be valued by the quality of the decisions they enable, the problems they solve, the people they develop, and the business outcomes they influence. So I encourage leaders to ask a different question. Instead of asking, how much did I do today? How much did I get done today? What difference did I make today? Did I help make a better decision, move barriers for my team, solve a customer problem, create new opportunities? Those are the questions that matter. And if you go to very famous management theory concept, we just need to think about, the red and the blue ocean. Are we staying in the red ocean? Are we thinking about moving to the blue ocean? So that's the shift every leader needs to make.
Got it. Now let's focus on the skills, right? We have discussed about judgment, problem solving, and other than that, most importantly, the decision making, right? So these are certain things which we have already touched upon. But other than that, what skills will become exponentially more important as AI becomes exponentially more powerful?
So first, I think people should stop talking about, technical versus soft skills. So the leaders who thrive will combine both. And any professional, actually, it's not just in IT, but any professional who combines both, right? The first, otherwise, to focus on, and I would say we'll do 5 year again, right? The first is strategic thinking. seeing the bigger picture, connecting technology decisions to business outcomes, right? Second is judgment. AI can generate all the options in the world for you, but leaders still need to evaluate trade offs, manage risk, make decisions in context. Simple example, we use AI to come up with a decision. War breaks out somewhere. AI doesn't have that information in real time. It's a simple thing, right? I mean, it may not always be that war breaks out. We hope that that doesn't happen anymore. But just as an example. Third is communication and influence. As
Mm-hmm.
work becomes more cross functional, more cross border, more cross mindsets, people, all of that, leaders must align diverse stakeholders and inspire action, right? The fourth is learning agility. The World Economic Forum's Future of Job, take a look at that. That report consistently highlights adaptability and continuous learning as critical future capabilities. And I think that's becoming increasingly evident. And
Yeah.
finally, developing people. Ironically, as technology becomes more powerful, investing in people becomes even more important. That's very close to home. I love this particular one personally. Great leaders don't just deliver results, they create environments where people feel safe. So it's not just about training and development in that sense, but allowing an environment where people feel safe to ask questions, to explore options, maybe make a few mistakes. So the future won't reward the people who simply know how to use AI. It will reward the leader who knows how to lead people and the organization in a world where AI is a part of everyday work. Those are the skills I would focus on. Yeah.
Right. So in that case, what should these IT leaders be talking to their teams or with their teams about the future of work?
So I would start with one mistake never to make. And that biggest mistake that leaders tend to make, not everybody, but some do, is avoiding the conversation with their teams. So the point being, have the conversation. And I'm glad you asked this question. The reality is your team is not expecting certainty. They're expecting honesty, direction, confidence. In fact, avoiding the confidence conversation often creates more anxiety than the change itself. There are 5 conversations. Again, I love the number 5, obviously, that I believe every tech leader should be having. First, how is AI changing the work we do? Be open about what's changing, what's still uncertain, what it means for them. Second, what new capabilities do we need to build? Shift the conversation from protecting today's skills to developing tomorrow's capabilities, right? Third, how do we use AI responsibly? Talk about ethics, security, privacy, governance, where human judgment remains essential. Fourth, how do we create more business value? Encourage the team to think about beyond delivering technical solutions. Ask, how does our work improve customer outcomes, business performance, innovation? And finally, how do we grow together? Career development should not be an annual performance discussion anymore. It should be an ongoing conversation. It should have always been like that, right? About aspirations, strengths, capabilities. So these 5 questions really are something a leader can ask himself or herself as well as along with the team, right? So these are the conversations. And Amy Edmondson's research, there is one on psychological safety at work, reminds us that people learn, innovate, adapt best when they feel safe to ask questions, experiment, and even make mistakes. So I think that's exactly the kind of environment that the future leader needs to create in the AI era. And at the end of the day, you don't prepare your team for the future of having all answers. You prepare them by creating a culture where curiosity is welcomed, continuous learning, and responsible experimentation becomes part of everyday work. That's the kind of leaders people will remember, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Cheryl, let's assume if you are coaching a high performing technology manager today, and what 3 capabilities would you ask them to develop immediately?
Oh, that's actually a conversation I've had quite often with people I coach, right? First is strategic thinking, right? I ask them to stop seeing themselves as someone who simply solves problems, technical, right? Red ocean, think blue ocean, and start thinking like a business leader. Instead of asking, how do I solve this? What business problems are we solving? What outcomes are we looking for? Second, influence. As leaders progress, success becomes less about the work they personally deliver and more about the outcomes they enable through other people. We spend a lot of time working on communicating with impact, influencing without relying on authority, building trust, collaborating across functions to achieve this, right? And the third is learning agility. Everything evolving so quickly that the leaders who thrive won't be the ones who know everything. They'll be
Right.
the ones who can learn, adapt, help each other. So when I see leaders consistently develop these three capabilities, strategic thinking, influence, and learning agility, I also see them become more confident, more relevant, and better. Prepared for what? Opportunities that they may not even have imagined. So when change has hit them, especially at work, I see them more grounded, non reactive, taking a pause and being able to respond to things. Because careers today aren't built simply on expertise, they are built on your ability to continuously learn, create value, and lead through change. And those coaches of mine or the people I've worked with have understood that.
Fabulous. Now, let's time travel to 2035. Okay.
Okay.
So, the most successful IT leaders now are thriving while others have disappeared from relevance. So, what did the successful leaders understand in 2026 that everyone else have missed?
Ah, interesting question. Nicely put. Thank you. So I hope that by 2035, you said 2035,
Yes.
people
Yes.
won't look back and say AI changed everything. I hope they'll say the leaders who embraced change changed everything. I would hope that, right? So I think the leaders who thrive in 2035 will have understood one simple but powerful truth back in 2026. Their greatest asset was never their technical expertise, it was their ability to continually evolve. So that continuous evolution was the critical thing. And they realized that AI wasn't just another technology to learn, it was a catalyst that changed how organizations create value, make decisions, and compete. And when I say that catalyst, that's the mindset shift. Now, it's AI is not happening to me. I have to decide what I want AI to do for me. So that's the change in thinking. So instead of asking, how do I protect my role? They asked, how do I reinvent the value I bring? So they invested in those capabilities that we've discussed. That's how I would think they should see it, and that's what they would realize in 2035.
Fabulous. And this has been an incredible conversation so far. And it's time for us to lighten up the mood of our audience, okay, by adding some more spice and some more excitement. So, which means it brings us to the second rapid fire round. So, shall we get started?
Sure.
All right. So, here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Okay. Update your mindset more than your phone. That's what I would say.
I love it. Okay. Describe yourself in just one word.
Curious.
And a book every leader should read.
Hands down, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It's timeless because leadership starts with leading yourself.
Absolutely. It is one of my all time favorites. And the best piece of career advice you have ever received.
Ah, that would be, don't just build your career, build your capability. Opportunities will follow. Yeah, I remember that.
And one leadership trait that you admire.
Humility,
And one word for the future.
possibility.
Here comes the last bullet.
Oh,
What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you'd like to see or invent yourself?
I have thought of this before, okay? So it's parked in one of my ideas. I'd invent a future mirror, okay? Something that could show you the long term impact of the choices you're making today. So you could see where your career is heading before you get there.
I love it. And this is the most unique gadget idea that I've come across in the entire 1,000+ conversations that I've ever had on
Thank you.
6GB.
Thank
Okay,
you.
wonderful. I love it. And with that, let's flip back to the mainstream. And here comes the last question. Like, if every IT leader listening today woke up tomorrow and decided to make just one change to stay relevant in the AI economy, what should that change be?
Is stop asking, how do I stay relevant? And start asking, how do I create more value? Really, that's it. Just
That's
set
it.
aside 30 minutes every week first. Reflect on 3 questions maybe to answer this. What did I learn this week? How did I create value beyond my technical expertise? And what capability do I need to develop next to prepare for the future? Just do this.
Mhm.
The
Right.
answers will come to you.
Right. Wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, Cheryl. And is this your first podcast experience?
It
And if
is,
so, how is your?
Naveen. You have to
It
tell
is.
me how I did.
No, you did well. Really crisp and to the point responses. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you.
Thank
And
you.
how is your experience being hosted on TGV? Because you have been an outsider. Okay, now that we are doing this special series, that's a different story. But has any of the perception changed about the platform before versus after immersing
Yes,
yourself here?
yes, very much so. I was extremely anxious. Uh,
Mhm.
one would think with the experience that I have into training, coaching, I should not, but you've made it very comfortable. Um, I found, in fact, the questions you asked me felt very logical for me to answer because it felt like there was a flow. So it made me extremely comfortable. And yes, knowing you personally has of course helped. And seeing you in this format is while I've heard your other episodes, but experiencing it has actually made me feel a little bit of joy, if not a lot. So of course there is a lot of joy. Thank you, Naveen. Thank you. Yes.
So most welcome, and yeah, so we will continue these conversations in leading in the AI economy series. And what I like most about today's conversation is that we didn't just talk about AI. We spoke about leadership, relevance, and the choices leaders need to make today to remain valuable tomorrow. And folks, so the coming episodes in this special series, Leading in the AI Economy, we are going to continue exploring these shifts and introduce practical ways of thinking about how experienced technology leaders can evolve for the AI economy. All right, so if today's conversation challenge your thinking, make sure you follow the series because we are only getting started and there is a long way to go. And Cheryl, thank you once again for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. So, folks, so I just wanted to uh, summarize what we have spoken. Like it was not just about relevance, and history has shown us that careers have rarely disappeared overnight, right? So that is true. In fact, Cheryl also mentioned that, and people simply wake up one day and realize the world has changed faster than they did. Right? The leaders who thrive in the AI economy won't necessarily be the smartest technologists. They'll be the fastest learners, the strongest communicators, the clearest thinkers, and the leaders who know how to turn technology into business outcomes. Right. So that is the key learning. And if this episode has challenged your thinking, share it with an IT leader, engineering manager, architect, CIO, or CTO, or someone whoever is navigating the future of work. And most importantly, follow this series. All right. So before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request in case if you have enjoyed the conversation, share it with at least three of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, and so spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. And having had amazing conversation with Cheryl on the very first episode, right, of leading in the AI economy, since we have been talking a lot about AI, I thought of presenting you three lesser known facts about the origins of artificial intelligence today as part of the trivia. Here's the first fact. The Dartmouth workshop was not the first gathering about machine intelligence. Many people think that the famous 1956 Dartmouth workshop is often called the birth of AI. But researchers had already been discussing machine intelligence in earlier cybernetics conferences and Macy meetings during the late 1940s and early 1950s. However, Dartmouth's real contribution was giving the field its enduring name, the artificial intelligence. Next fact is that the term artificial intelligence was chosen partly to avoid academic politics. John McCarthy deliberately selected the term artificial intelligence because it was relatively neutral and he wanted to distinguish the new field from cybernetics, which was strongly associated with Norbert Wiener and focused on feedback systems. The name helped unite researchers from different disciplines under a new banner. Next fact is that one of the first AI programs was created before the term AI became popular. And it dates back to 1956. Alan Neville, Herbert Simon, and Cliff Shaw. They built logic theorists A program that proved mathematical theorems, and it even discovered a shorter proof for one theorem in Principia Mathematica. Many historians consider it the first true AI program demonstrating machine reasoning before AI had fully emerged as an established field. And here is the bonus fact: early AI pioneers were extraordinarily optimistic. Herbert Simon predicted in the 1950s that machines would eventually perform many tasks considered uniquely human, and that vision actually helped drive decades of AI research, and we are seeing it live today. All right, so that's it for today. And before you go, right, before I let you go, here's a question. So tell me about, how is your experience with artificial intelligence? Do you think it is a boom or a bane? So if you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there. Or if you found it on social media platforms, you can comment there as well. All right. So folks, thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember, the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.